versus Matt Grim Basso.
This is the loosest in Australian wrestling, Adam Brooks.
This is Scrap Iron Adam Pearce, and you are locked in
to Wrestle Radio Australia.
Welcome to Wrestle Radio Australia, The Rundown. This is it's a new show, a new concept where if promotions would like, can come on and we'll talk about the matches and of their show that are coming up for the major shows. And for this first one is one that's very close to my heart, my home territory, if you will, RCW. And who else to talk to when you're talking RCW is the lead commentator right now for RCW, the wordsmith, Sean Fewster. How are you, mate?
Oh, Todd, Eastman, very good to see you. Actually, that's a lie. We're really glad we kicked you out of South Australia and kicked Team Eastman to the curb. But you know what? For the love of RCW, we will actually talk to you on this podcast.
I was actually nice before we left. Thank you. I'll have you know.
Really?
Yes.
When?
We helped Grim get back into bloody RCW.
Yeah, you know, that is a good point. All right, you know what? Officially and on the record, all is forgiven. You are welcome back across the border. I will cancel the armed guards and the guns. I will let President Trump know that you may cross the wall.
I feel like I sat backstage at that Rumble for nothing now. I mean, if I'd have known that was the case, I would have explained things.
Mate, we wouldn't have been able to hear explanations past your flashing glasses.
Well, that's true, yeah. Well, their batteries are died now, so that's gone. Had to find a whole new gimmick.
All joking aside, it is absolutely wonderful to see you. We miss you down here. We love you dearly. We wish you were back more often because you are part of the family and you always will be no matter where you are in the world.
Oh, thank you, sir. Anyway, let's get to this show because it is pretty much what you would say the biggest show that RCW will have ever put on so far, and that is RCW Superclash at HQ, and which is, if people don't know Adelaide, HQ is the big venue in Adelaide, really.
This is the heart, the absolute heart of the city.
Aside from the entertainment centre, this is like the big venue now, isn't it?
That's right. And like I said, the literal heart of the city. It's on Hindley Street, the West End, the party end of Adelaide. We are going to be there on a Friday night, right in the middle of the action when things are hot. And it's going to be just an incredible night of action. You've probably seen the little videos that are out there. If you haven't, check out the Riot City Facebook, the Twitter account, the Instagram. Look at the setup we've got. It's amazing. This is going to be top quality to match the incredible action that we're going to be putting on tomorrow night. Oh, tonight, whenever you put this up, Friday night.
Yeah, it'll probably be Friday morning now the time that we're starting this. But let's talk about the first match coming up on that show. Well, I don't know if it's going to be the first match, but the first match we're going to talk about.
We'll pick our own order.
Yes, just signed today, Davey Green against Jet Armstrong.
That's right, the former RCW champion Davey Green, who was well and truly screwed out of his title by the Armstrongs. They've attacked him, they've beaten him up, they've bashed him, they've tried to break him. Now the young man has a chance to avenge himself against the newly returned from overseas Jet Armstrong. When Jet returned, we thought he was going to actually make something of himself, turn his back on his brother, and figure out that, defending RCW and its fans was the way to go. Unfortunately, he turned out to be pretty much an Armstrong. Now he's strutting around just like his brother and claiming to be a big man just like his brother and causing problems for poor Nick's chick, their beautiful manager that's somehow tethered to those fools. We're going to see Davey Green hopefully kick the snot out of Jet Armstrong, but I wouldn't count Jet out. You know how tough he is.
But Davey Green is one of the best young up-and-coming wrestlers in not just in Adelaide, but in the country, in my opinion. I know a lot of people haven't seen him outside of Adelaide. I think he's made 1 or 2 appearances in Melbourne. But, yeah, just so much talent, this kid.
Usually when a masked wrestler loses their mask, they miss a step. Things slow down a little bit. This kid's just taken off like a rocket. He used to be a super mega action superhero. Now he's a god of the air. He flies around. Nothing can stop him. It's going to be amazing to see him under the bright lights of HQ just absolutely take off.
And a feud coming to an end with the dog collar match, Katie Trey and Tony Toro.
Not just a feud, but also a friendship. 2 young men who came up in the RCW Academy together side by side. One time the tag team of Chomp and Charge. Katie Trey known for biting his opponents. Tony Toro known for running through everything head first, horns first. It's all broken down. Tony Toro turned his back on Katie and on the Riot City faithful by siding with that little stain of a man, Jimmy C, our terrible, terrible general manager, betraying everybody. Katie's made him pay for it with a bite to the nether regions at a recent match. But Tony Toro, of course, upped the stakes, Todd.
Yeah, I saw footage from one of the RCW lives where he collared him to ring ropes and beat Katie Trey.
Absolutely. He said to Katie, if you're going to act like a dog and bite like a dog, you're going to be treated and beaten like a dog. Tied him to the ropes with that chain and beat him down. Now Katie wants a measure of revenge, so we are going to have ourselves a good old-fashioned dog collar match.
All right, and we'll move from that one to, definitely a different type of match with the tequila street fight. Or was it the Heinley? No, tequila street.
No, the tequila
death
death match. This is going to be a very unique stipulation coming to us from our own Katie Trey, the man that... Sorry, not from our own Katie Trey. We're just talking about Katie Trey.
Yeah.
Coming to us from our own Tuffy Calhoun, the man who weighs about 4 kegs. Tuffy said, you know what? It's the millennials. It's the rude ones. The millennials are known for cheating, and there's no dirty trick in the book that the rude ones won't pull out. So every time you're caught cheating, you got to take a shot of tequila. And with how much both those teams like bending the rules, this is going to get messy. But it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun to watch at the same time.
All right, and then we move from that one to a 4-way Heinley street fight. This is what I was trying to say before. Hammer taking on Tyler Daniels, taking on Zach Sabbath, taking on Kurt Barron. I mean, Kurt Barron's a monster. Hammer's a monster. Zach Sabbath is twisted. And, Tyler Daniels is the difference, isn't he?
Well, I'm taking to call this match the good, the bad, the crazy, and the difference, because this is going to be epic, legendary level stuff. This is Jimmy C's attempt to eradicate Hammer once and for all. He and that turncoat Brad Smythe have decided that putting Hammer in the ring with those 3 men is going to result in him being beaten down and destroyed and not being able to cash in with his key to the city, which, as you know, can unlock a title shot at any time in Riot City. He wants to protect the champ Nick Armstrong, and he wants to make sure Hammer suffers. But I don't know whether Tyler Daniels is the sort that's going to play that game, whether he's really going to play into what Jimmy C wants on the way to desperately trying to get that victory. But you know that Kurt Barron and Zach Sabbath are just twisted enough to do it.
And after that, not after that, but as well as that, we've got some massive title matches here. We've got huge. This has to be one of the
This is so big. This night is so big that titles from interstate are going to be defended in HQ. It's not just RCW's gold on the line, but interstate gold on the line. That's how much this night means not only to Adelaide wrestling, not only to Riot City wrestling, but to Australian wrestling.
Yeah, well, that's what I was about to say. I mean, you've got New South Wales titles on the line. You've got Victorian titles on the line, not to mention the RCW title being on the line. First up, though, we'll talk about the new Newey Pro Women's Champ, Indy Hartwell, is defending, not defending, but title versus title match with RCW's own Casey Johns.
Casey Johns, who has been on an unstoppable monster streak since she took that belt. We've not seen domination since the likes of Demi Bennett / Rhea Ripley ripped her way through Riot City. It's almost been that no one or nothing can stop Casey Johns. But Indy, as you say, a champion herself. 2 belts on the line. 2 women enter, only 1 champion is going to leave. That's going to be an incredible match. The athleticism of Indy versus the bone-crunching style of Casey Johns.
Yeah, this is going to be really interesting because a lot of people around the country have heard of Indy Hartwell because she is pretty much, say, the flavour of the year in women's wrestling in Australia.
And
really, just
deservedly so.
Exactly.
Deservedly so. Amazing talent.
Yes, being on international assault tours and the like that. But then you've got Casey Johns, who has been on the tear that you've heard of, but hasn't really been heard of a lot around the country. I know she only just debuted in NHPW last month or last week.
Last month, and acquitted herself very well in their tournament.
Yeah, so hopefully a lot of people are going to get their eyes on this and see how good Casey Johns actually is.
Yeah, look, win, lose, or draw for either of these women, it's going to be an absolute classic.
And then we'll move from this one to... I saw the promo for this a couple of weeks ago. It just cracked me up so much I had to actually put the audio on our podcast. The Pereira taking on Brody Marshall and Matt Grimbasso for the PCW tag titles.
That's right, the young boys, the Pereira, the WOG boys themselves, the boys that say they weigh about 69 ounces of Slovaki meat. Still can't say that properly. Souvlaki meat.
Souvlaki, yeah. Slovaki sounds something else.
They went into state and they won those PCW titles, their first titles. And if you think Big Steen has shut up since, you don't know Big Steen very well. He's just gotten bigger and louder as a result of it. But there's no bigger, no louder challenge than Big Brody Marshall and Grimm, two former multi-time RCW champions. Brody Marshall, a former RCW tag team champion. This is a hell of a thing for these young men to take on, and it represents the classic old guard of RCW and the next rising generation coming head-to-head for a belt for an interstate company.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, for this being their first defense, they couldn't have picked two larger, two more experienced guys to actually face in this.
Yeah, and Grimm and Big Brody Marshall have already proven they have excellent tag team continuity. You know how sometimes you put two champions together in a tag team and it just doesn't work? There's a clash of egos or someone wants to be dominant, it just doesn't work. These two men who have fought each other, you know, you've seen those matches, Todd, and anybody can see them on our YouTube channel. They fought some of the bloodiest, nastiest matches in RCW history. They found a common ground, and that's terrifying. They found a mindset of shared brutality. And I mean, I've known Brody Marshall for years. He's been a longtime friend of mine. You know, we've been through the worst when he was against RCW. Things have come out on the other side, but there is a malicious gleam in that man's eye now, standing side by side with the Viking. He's not just ready to destroy. He's having fun doing it. And as good as the Pereira are, they're going to want to have eyes in the back of their heads, and I reckon probably flak jackets and armor when they go up against these two absolute godlike monsters.
Yes, and that leads us to the main event of the evening. World-class Chris Basso. I can't believe I got that wrong.
No, come on, do it properly. Do it properly. I got to hear you do it, Toddy. Come on.
I'll probably blow out the mic if I do it.
No, you can do it soft, but let's get the full photos. Let me hear that.
What do you want, the full intro?
The full. Or? Give me the full intro.
Jeez, I got to try and remember it now. What is it? He is not only the cornerstone of Riot City Wrestling, he is not only the cornerstone of Australian wrestling, he is the bearded assassin. That was the bearded assassin? Yes, he was.
Bearded assassin?
Oh my God. I can't remember.
The prince of the package pile driver.
No, is it the prince of
the czar of the Sega Mega Driver.
Prince of
Notorious. World-class.
World-class. Chris Basso. Are you happy?
I love it. That's what we're going to hear. I try to do that when I announce now. I can't quite do it as well as you, but...
putting the M in Basso.
The man who is one of the architects of RCW.
Yes, and he is defending against the champ, Nick Armstrong. These two had the match of the year in 2017, and to be in this venue, in front of this crowd, on this night, you can only think that they're going to up the stakes on that match.
This is the absolute A game, and I'm going to say it not just for Adelaide wrestling, but for Australian wrestling. The most honoured and prestigious belt in the country, up for grabs. Nick Armstrong has done everything he can to boast about that match last year while trying to duck Chris Basso, sending his brother in to fight for him, claiming he had a finger injury that prevented him from competing, attacking people, trying to knock Chris off his game by attacking Davey Green. Basso has risen above it all. He's kept his eyes on the prize. He has made sure that he is focused on winning that RCW championship again and ending the reign of the champ, and hopefully slapping some sense back into him.
So all in all, that's going to be a massive night. That is, of course, Riot City Wrestling Superclash. It is at HQ on Hindley Street. You can get your tickets from Mosh Tix at $25. And I'd want to get in quick because, I mean, it's Friday night. It's going to be a busy night. And if this place sells out and you miss out on these tickets, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I mean, there are tickets available at the door, but we're already telling people now, based on the pre-sales that we've had so far, don't count on there being tickets at the door. Then we may have to turn you away. So get in early, get in via Mosh Tix. Make sure you secure your spot. Even though it's a nightclub, it is an all ages event. You can bring the family along. You can bring the kids along. It's going to be an incredible night for everybody. I was at the venue tonight, Todd, last night by the time this airs. It looks spectacular. It's going to be so much fun, so intense, and such great action. Riot City like you've never seen it before.
Sean Fewster, thank you so much for coming on, mate.
Mate, you're very welcome. Like I say, we love you and we miss you down here. We wish you were joining us for Superclash tomorrow night. But for everybody else, get your tickets. Make sure you're there. HQ on Hindley Street. Doors open at 7. The Riot starts at 8. Riot City Wrestling Superclash.
That does it for this first episode of WRA Rundown. Look, WRA Rundown. My God, I'm terrible at this. See you later.
See you guys.